it's actually been implemented now. It's got they updated the UI to have the font more like the original game, and they have also redone the graphics. Well, not redone, more like they reverted back to the pixel style and not the smoothing effect that they used on that. So those are the two steps they've taken out of the many they said that's going to happen. And from when I saw it, the touchscreen interface is still there, but it does have more traditional font to make it feel like the original game. So this is a good positive step in the, right direction so far, but there is still a couple things they need to do to make it the experience that people deserve, especially for $15. But, I've already talked about it enough between last week and today. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so that was the biggest thing. I saw where they patched it, but they've actually fixed a fair amount of things that I'm surprised they did, and I will give them credit for actually taking some criticism and at least allowing players to have the option of having the original Super Nintendo graphics or the previous version. And I checked it out on, there's lots of live streams of it with like the patch implemented, and I kind of watched like the first 45 minutes or so of it, on and off, just to see how it looked. And it does look a lot better. I actually thought about buying it now, but man, that user interface they at least changed it to where it doesn't have like a Visual Basic command prompt that pops up where you have to type in your name or whatever. It looks like now they actually have like a snazzy looking like deal for you to type in, to rename the characters if you want. But still, that UI just looks so ugly. And hopefully, they said they're working on it, and they'll come out with another patch. And I just hope that they do that. And if they do, I'll buy it, man, because I want to support them actually giving a crap with these with these ports. My only concern is you see on Steam, because they added these like quick changes, all of a sudden Chrono Trigger is starting to get pretty good reviews on Steam, which is good. I don't want it to do bad, but I just want everybody to hold their breath and say no, let's hold on, let's keep the pressure on Square, and let's get that user interface adjusted. Hopefully, after they do all this, maybe they'll realize, hey, if we just re-release the original version of Final Fantasy VI, we could make a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, I checked the mobile version, the iOS version on my iPad, and it doesn't look like they implemented the update on that yet. I think they probably focused on the Steam version first, and probably going to implement the mobile version. Probably sometime real soon. We'll probably see it really soon, but they probably focus on the Steam version first to get some of the negativity out of there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing, because it was like the reviews like on the first day was mostly negative, so they definitely wanted to fix that. But I mean, honestly, like I said, like I'll check it out once if they fix that user interface, I'll spend $15. I'll buy it. That's money well spent. It's a great game. So I think they still should have a lot of many other features. I mean, I think it should be somewhat comparable to someone who is going to emulate it. So I would like to see or have the ability to really tweak the graphics to the way I want, and like the sound and everything like that. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm just happy we got this. So that's big news, dude. I'm happy they actually fixed it and quick. So very cool. Still
cross my fingers for our hopeful original FF6 graphics, because I would instantly play it on Steam if that did come out for it.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like the fact that they're getting so much feedback about this, it has to have occurred to them that, that Final Fantasy VI port that we did, where it looks like it's like basically, like we said, Microsoft Paint graphics. People really don't like that.
Yeah, borderline Crayola Crown.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen if we just released the original. So I don't know. I'm hoping that like it. Maybe this is a small sign that like things are eventually going to start changing at Square around these games. I don't know.
What I really wonder is what made them think that. I would say both FF6 and Chrono Trigger are about almost equal level on really beautiful character sprites created. Yeah. And what I wonder is what made them think they needed to completely redo the FF6 sprites, but not the Chrono Trigger ones. Okay, their mindset seems kind of inconsistent.
Well, no, I think I can see what they were thinking. They tried to, with the Final Fantasy VI ones, they were trying to appeal to a new audience, which is obvious, right? So that's why they updated it, or in their mind, they updated it. They tried to make it like this high resolution. And after seeing everyone get mad about the Final Fantasy VI graphics, they probably thought, okay, well, we'll leave the Chrono Trigger graphics in, but we'll just apply a bunch of filters to it to make it more appealing in whoever's eyes, right? And that made everyone mad. So I think eventually it's got to occur to them that, like, hey, if we just don't mess with it at all, people will like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there should be some middle ground here. I think they should make some kind of quality of life, or just make it a better experience if they can. Because re-releases always get hit with the criticism when it's basically a direct port, right? When they don't change anything. That was the biggest problem with the port to the PlayStation 1, right? Was that, well, they added these cutscenes, but everything else was a direct port, and because of that, it moved slow.
Yeah, like when it translated over, because when in the SNES version, when you load your menu, it reads like the data off the cartridge, and it's naturally faster to read off a cartridge than it is a disc. So when it got emulated over to PS1 on a disc, it had to read off a disc and not a cartridge to pull up the menu, which is why it took much longer. And it was lazy on their end to not optimize that to make it work with the PS1, but that is mostly the reason why it had much longer, more dreaded load times, both for Chrono Trigger, FF4, FF5, and FF6 PlayStation 1 version. All suffered from this issue because they never took time to optimize loading times between the menus, which cartridges were instantly.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's room for them to make updates, like make sure it runs at a reasonable speed, make sure it's not lagging. Like, I think the general like place they need to look at is, does this game compare to the original at all? If it's not as good of an experience as the original, then they're not doing enough, right? So at the bare minimum, it should be as good as the original. Now, the Nintendo DS version of the game, it's excellent. Some of the added content in there, I've seen some people say, it's not that good, but it's not that bad. But other than that, like, it's a great version of the game. I mean, it gives you options to use the cutscenes or not use the added cutscenes. I mean, it's not like ugly looking. They didn't mess with the graphics a ton. It's just like they just put the game out there and let you play it. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's in charge of these ports, but we could probably find that out. But maybe it's the same culprit. I don't know.
DS version is the one I always recommend every time. It's got the most content in it, and it does that side quest people are referring to did give more context to the transition between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. So that was pretty cool. They added that, and it doesn't interfere with the main story at all. It is a side story content with Magus.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is they didn't make the game. If somebody didn't enjoy that, it didn't ruin the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're doing with 15 where they're going back and they're like, oh, let's completely change the game because we think this would be better. Like, no, they left it alone, and they just added some bonus content in there to kind of like wrap some things up with Chrono Cross and just, make it more of a smoother transition, which is fine. That's totally fine. And I think that this doesn't seem like this would be that difficult of a project to do. just port the freaking game. So, and it boggles my mind that they can't even do that right. So, anyways, that's my thoughts with that. Did you have any other thoughts with that?